Many reasons for me to have said yes to Bhavna when she asked me if I would come and speak. One, for sure, the topic, because I think we do get it very wrong. A lot of us get it wrong. So I don't lose out any opportunity to, speak about my experiences and what I think it should ideally be and how one should go about it. To never say no to a group of women who are looking forward to, kind of embrace and grow in their lives and in their careers. So for all those reasons, I'm here, and I hope you will have some kind of takeaways. Whatever you learned in the morning session, hopefully some of the stories that I narrate, you will be able to relate to that and take at least one or two, takeaways and implement them. And that's most important, right? It's one thing to sit through and listen to somebody else. And I always say, when you listen to someone, you could either get inspired or you could get intimidated, right? And then so you decide what you want to do. If you are inspired, you may say, okay, that was a great story, thank you. Or you may say, that was a great story, what can I imbibe, what can I do about it? And if you're intimidated, then you say, okay, that works for you, doesn't work for me, thank you, right? So I hope you will be able to take away a few things and implement it from today as we are, finishing off the session. So I will just bring this up while, very few slides, but it's going to be more a storytelling session. I'll keep this on. So as Sri introduced me, right, I quit from my IT corporate career after 25 years in 2017. And I quit without a job. I quit without knowing what I was really going to be doing. Now, you might think that that was a very, very bold decision, or you may say, okay, there must have been something brewing in your head and hence you wanted to do. And I did a few things after that, as my bio speaks. Did you plan all of that? But I think for all of us, a decision like that, from a comfortable corporate job, I had a title which was director in Capgemini, which was obviously bringing in, the kind of money it would every month into my bank account. A decision like that, I don't think it's very easy. It is not easy for a variety of reasons. One, there is always a fear factor. And two, there is also a factor of what next. So how did I deal with that, right? So the first factor is in terms of the salary that keeps coming. I think the decision was easy for me from a perspective of I probably didn't have any big loans to pay off. I was not looking at big investments in terms of houses or anything like that. I had saved enough to say that, okay, even if nothing comes in my bank account, I can, pick on all the savings and, manage my life. So that kind of gave me some solace to take that decision. The second thing was, of course, what do I do after I leave my job? Because I'm not going to have another job. I'd not even applied to something else. What really helped me take that decision was the fact that if you keep the money aspect aside, I knew there's enough and more that I could do to keep myself productively utilized through the day, through the month, and keep my sanity. Because I think that's one of the things that we all worry about. How do I spend, the whole day if you don't have that, whatever you're doing, in all these years? 25 years is a lot of time. So let me rewind a year back. So 2017 is when I quit, and 2016, let me start the story there to say, how did, I eventually make that decision happen? So when in 2016, I was at Capgemini, obviously, and that's a services company. We always work for some client or the other. I'd finished up my role with a particular client, and I was, sitting on bench. Those of you from service companies will understand what that bench means. You're waiting to get your next billable project, and it's not a good place to be in. Like the literal bench, right? A sofa is, much better. A bench really, pains you. It's not a good thing to be on bench. So while I was looking out for the next project to come by, I did a few things in Capgemini. I reached out to the India HR head and I told her that I'm available for a period of time till I get onto my next project. If there is something that you're looking to drive for India from an HR perspective, let me know. Then I went and reached out to the testing, India's testing head, because I belong to the testing fraternity. So I have an IT background, right? So I was part of the testing services. And I said, here I am till I get my next billable project. If there is something, do, utilize me for that. And third person that I reached out to was, the Bangalore center head. So Capgemini, at that point in time, I had about 100,000 employees across India. And so with such a large organization, and even within Bangalore, with so many clients that you deal with, you really don't know what's happening in which part of the company. And I'm sure that's true of many other companies. So there was a Bangalore center head who was trying to make Bangalore the best, location across India for Capgemini, and he was driving a few things. So I went to him and I said, hey, I'm available in case you want me to do something. And of course, there are many things that I did because of, the people that I reached out to. From the India HR perspective, she told me to put out a recommendation to hire women on a career break. Now I'm talking 2016, when such a concept was very new. And for me, I've never taken a break till then. And my first reaction was, what's the big deal? Why do you even have to do a recommendation? You hire men, you hire women, you go hire women on a career break. What's this big deal about a recommendation? But then you can't say that to the senior person. So I sat down and I did some research. Those days, the one organization that was quite famous for, women returnees was Sheroes. It was a platform that used to look at women who were on a break and see how they could help them in terms of, restarting their careers. And I spoke to a few friends who had taken a break, and I put out a recommendation to say, okay, fine, these are portals, you'll find women here, and blah, blah, blah. I put down the story and submitted it. Now, when I was doing that research, I had to actually register on the Sheroes platform so that I know how that platform works, how do you utilize that platform. And since I was one of the users on that platform, I got invited to a conference that they were running a couple of months later for women on a career break. It was a full day conference in one of the 5-star hotels. And, obviously I got invited. I don't know why, but I decided to go and attend it. Certain things that we do, we never are able to explain why we do. I was not on a break. I was not considering taking a break. It was a Saturday, full day session. And I was not one of those who would just keep going, to anything that I got invited to. And still I decided to go. In fact, I asked some of my friends, friends from my previous organizations, we are all, close-knit, sitting on a WhatsApp group together. I said, hey, come on, this Saturday, let's go to this 5-star hotel, enjoy ourselves, and also attend the conference. Nobody came with me. I was all alone. My husband was like, on a Saturday, why do you have to step out of the house? And Bangalore traffic in those days, you remember, from wherever we were to this place, we could do so many better things on a Saturday, but I still went. And I'll tell you that conference transformed me. Two things happened there. One was that the speakers who came there, they were from such a diverse, background. So till then, I was only IT, and I was, doing IT for banking. And the only conferences maybe I would show up were what the company would, ask you to go and attend. Either they would have got passes because they are sponsoring some conference, or maybe they think that this is good for you, so go and attend. So it would be a very kind of the crowd that you would be attending it would be known to you. The speakers would be known to you because it's just a small circle. Banking, IT, same people coming and speaking, same kind of stuff, and the same kind of people that you're meeting. Here, it was a completely diverse, set of speakers that were invited. And for the first time in my life, I thought, why don't I even know these things? When people were talking about certain things, because I was like a frog in the well. I didn't even know that such things existed. The second thing was the perspectives that they were bringing to the table. And I was thinking, why is it that I never thought of something like this before? It was not something rocket science. It's just about the way you approach something, the way you analyze something. And then the second thing that happened was I heard from those women who were on a career break, their stories of trying to even get to the interview. Today, the scene is very different, I have to say. 2022, 5 years, 6 years down the line, the scene is so very different. I closely work with Aspire for her. We only get asked for profiles of women on a career break. And I've told Madhura that if someone wants to really get a job, maybe they have to take a sabbatical and then apply, because companies seem to be only wanting women on a career break. But back then, those stories were really heart-wrenching of these women who used to go to interviews and the kinds of questions they would be asked and, the way they would be treated. So in my head, I decided, one, that I need to open up my minds and bring in these diverse perspectives, which means that I need to interact with, different kinds of people. So where do I find these different kinds of people? How do I interact? So the first quick thing was that I went to LinkedIn. Now, the story of LinkedIn is that I'm talking 2016. I had about 24 years of corporate experience. I was not on LinkedIn till 2016 January. I was almost antisocial, I was not on Facebook for many years since it was started, till one of my friends kept hounding me. She was in the US. She said, I put pictures of my kids, Nirja, get onto Facebook, you can see that, etc. And that's when I got onto Facebook, and I kept it like only friends, not even family. Like family is not friends. So you don't make friends with, family on Facebook. So just friends. And LinkedIn, because I told you I was getting on the bench, right? And it was not a good place to be in. And in fact, if I had not gotten a few projects, then I may have had to look outside of the organization. So people told me, get onto LinkedIn if you're looking for jobs. It's a good thing to be there. So I created a profile and I connected with people with whom I'd worked in the past. That's it. Nobody else, no new person. And if I would get an invite, I would check. Uske profile mein is ANZ there, is Capgemini there, is my Sonata there, then connect. Maybe I have worked with this person, otherwise no. So that was such a close thing that I had. So first thing I did after this Shiro's conference was I went and followed all the speakers who had come to that conference. I was still very scared to send an invite to connect. I said, quietly, let me follow them. And in my mind, I decided I'm going to do something about this cause of helping women on a career break. I didn't know what. For sure, I knew I was not going to start off a platform like a Jobs for Her or a Aspire for Her or a Shenomics or something like that. But I said, whatever I can do. And I was in an influential position in Capgemini. I had put out a recommendation to hire women on a career break. So I thought I could influence, get some of these women into jobs there. Now, people say, right, that when you want something, the universe conspires. But I think it's just, some technology behind it. It's nothing more than that. Because I was following Shiro's on Facebook and suddenly Jobs for Her popped up. It's just data analytics, I think, working behind the engine. And Jobs for Her asked for people to be their ambassadors, women to be their ambassadors. And the job or whatever, the profile is what? Ambassador is someone who talks about the organization. So if you are on a break and if you utilize the services of an organization like Jobs for Her, which helps women on a career break restart their careers, then you go and talk to other women on a career break about it. That was the concept. I was not on a break, but remember I told you I wanted to do something about this cause. So I put my hand up and I said, I'm not on a break, but I would like to do this. And they said, okay. So we got into this small WhatsApp group of all other women on a break who also wanted to be ambassadors. And every day there would be chatter on the group because these are women trying for jobs. They would have gone for an interview. They came back disappointed, how to prepare, etc. And I, being a little more senior, I was able to give them some tips, tricks, some yarn, which they seemed to like. And eventually, after a few months, when Neha wanted to start the mentoring portal, Neha Bagaria is the founder of Jobs for Her. She wanted to start the mentorship portal on Jobs for Her. She approached me. She said, will you be a mentor on our portal? And I said, sure. And I onboarded as the 6th mentor. Today, I think they have probably thousands of mentors on that portal. And that's my journey of how I associate with Jobs for Her. And in my mission to do something about this cause, I went about it. So coming back to 2017, when I had to take that decision, I knew there was enough that I could do. Whether it was Jobs for Her, whether it was anywhere else, I knew I could utilize my time and my strengths and skills. So I was able to take that decision very easily. The other thing that I did was, before I quit in September 2017, I was on leave for 3 months because there were things happening at home. My mother was undergoing a surgery. My husband had fallen in and all of that. So I was on leave for 3 months. Every day I would step out of the house for a couple of hours, despite the fact that, I was supposed to be caring for people at home. 2 hours I would step out. I did not stay at home. One, to volunteer. So I used to volunteer jobs for her every alternate day. I was doing something for them. The other, 3 days, I would go meet some people. And who are these people? These are people that I would have connected with on LinkedIn. So I told you I started by following people on LinkedIn. Then I took a little more courage and I started connecting with them. Very interesting kinds of people. Either, if I have attended a conference, I found them there, or, some stories would come up on LinkedIn. And there was nothing around IT or banking or anything like that. Could be any background. It could be storytellers, they could be tech people, educationalists, anybody. I found something interesting about the profile, I would connect with them on LinkedIn. So I chose a few of these people and I wrote to them and saying that I would like to meet you. In those 3 months, this is what I did. Bhavna was also one of those people that I met actually, during those days. In fact, Bhavna, I met at Jobs for Her's event, this is the picture from then, 2017, when we all were on a panel discussion. And the good thing was, everybody responded. The people that I, wrote to, either they I met somewhere and I had their phone number, or on LinkedIn, I said, I would like to, meet you because I'm thinking of what next for me. Everybody accepted to meet me. And they said, where do you live? And actually showed up. I was in Alsur and they actually showed up in Indiranagar, Alsur, or somewhere, some cafe, some lunch place, around my house. And some even, bought me the coffee or the lunch. And we had a great conversation, eventually ending up with, they would like to collaborate with me. I had to put out a proposal in terms of what I could do for them. So that way I got into a consultant role in this startup, which I couldn't have imagined doing. It was a design organization, design thinking kind of an organization. I had no clue of design. In my head, I think I'm the last person to be called creative. I didn't know how I would fit into that setup, but Deepa Bachu, the founder, said, come, I'm sure that could be something that we could do. So I got on to that startup as a consultant, and immediately later, Neha, she was going to start the Jobs for Her Foundation, the not-for-profit arm. She asked me if I would head that. And I said, why not? And that's how I went to that role. 18 months, amazing work in terms of establishing the NGO, establishing communities, partnerships, bringing events and programs for women. Made me realize that I wanted to do something in the space of youth. Again, it was the same thing, right? I wanted to do something for women on a break, didn't know what, but I said, I will do whatever comes my way. Similarly, when I felt the need to do something in the space of youth, and that was a time when I also stepped out with the foundation, because I told Neha I always remain, available for Jobs for Her whenever they want, and I will do everything for them. I am on so many WhatsApp groups. I'm sure each of you probably is also on many WhatsApp groups, beyond friends, family, and all of that. On one of the groups, there was this message which came about this college here in Bangalore called National College. If you're in Bangalore, you may have heard of them. It's a 100-year-old institution. That they were introducing new courses. One was BCA in data science, one was BCA in IoT, and the third one was something else. What caught my attention was it's National College. It's a college that I had studied in the past. Data science courses, this was 2019. I think data science courses were not, that in vogue. To have a BCA data science. You might have data science as one subject probably, but to have a full-fledged 3-year course on data science. And then my daughter was looking to do data science. So all put together, there was a name of this person on that WhatsApp message who was behind starting these courses. The message was basically intended for students to let them know, hey, we are starting new courses, and if you want to apply, come. But I found this person on LinkedIn and I connected with him and I told him, I would like to, know more about this course and speak with you. So he invited me to the college and I went there and I told him, see, I am available to help in whatever capacity you need because it's a new course. You will need subject matter experts, faculty, projects, internships. I have a large network. By then I had established a large network. I'm happy to bring people. Tell me whatever you want me to do. He said, sure, I will think about it. In 2 weeks, he called me back and he said, we are creating a role for you in our educational institution to do something beyond the data science. We want you, exactly whatever you said, you can help us with for data science. We want you to do that for the entire, curriculum, the entire college. So they created a role called Director Relationships, which was to build the industry academia connect. so that we could get industry experts to help with the curriculum of the college, etc. All the while, I kept my freelancing, career going for any kinds of programs, leadership development, mindset change, behavior programs. And eventually, I, was on the Shenomics group because I've attended some of the Shenomics programs. I've delivered some talks on their platforms earlier. So I was on this WhatsApp group of Shenomics, and a beautiful, beautifully curated group, the engagement that happens on the group is amazing. So they started introducing the members, when we all got into the group, a nice format of introduction. So there was a day when I was introduced. And the day I got introduced, Madhura Das Gupta Sinha, who runs Aspire for her, it was 2020, just around the time she had started AFH. She messaged me on private and she said, Neerja, we launched Aspire for her on March 8th. This was, March 2020. She had launched on March 8th. In that one line that she wrote, I could sense the excitement that was there. It was just a plain text, but something, the way she said it, I could sense the excitement. So we got chatting, we got onto a Zoom to, see what she's doing. I said, I'm happy to help in whichever way. She said, we're looking for mentors. I said, I can onboard as a mentor. And the story has been the last 2 years closely associated with Aspire for her. This year, she asked me if I would drive one of their programs, a year-long program looking at upskilling girls from underprivileged, sectors, financially underprivileged sectors, and a few other, beneficiaries that we want to impact to really look at upskilling and eventually placing. We have a target of 5,000 such people to be skilled this year and placed this year, and I'm driving that program for them. All of this is what you may call networking. You may call it building relationships. But a few things that I want to, leave you with as takeaways from all these stories that I said. The first thing is the definition of networking. Networking is all about giving. All of us think about, who can I go and speak with, meet with, connect with, because that person can help me with something. I know that it is said that networking is the way to, kind of get opportunities, grow, etc., etc. But the going in position is not to find out who can give you what. It is about what is it that you can give to the network. And, like I did when I was, on bench, I reached out to, say, the HR head. I said, I can do something. I reached out to the testing head and said, I can do something. I reached out to Neha and said, I can do something, or to Madhura, or to the college. Eventually, you will get something back out of it, and you'll get a lot back. Things that you have not even imagined. But first, get the definition right to say that networking is about what is it that you can give to the other person. The second thing that I would definitely want to say is it's about leaving your comfort zone. How many of us feel comfortable in reaching out to the India HR head who's like, I'm saying Capgemini is 100,000 employee companies. The India HR head is really, really senior and probably never accessible. I was senior enough in the organization, but not that, I had a connect with her, but I reached out and I said, I would like to do something. I'm available. Leave that comfort zone. Okay, it's so very important. And secondly, leave the comfort zone and start attending conferences like I did for the Sheroes conference. Nobody came with me. Everybody beat me up. They said, why are you wasting a Saturday? But I decided to show up, and it could be a transformational moment for you. So leave the comfort zone and see how you can actually go meet people. And today it's so much more easier, LinkedIn, online platforms, conferences online, go attend and, speak to people. It's very, very important. It is all about developing long-lasting relationships. I'm saying personal, eventually it could even develop into personal relationships. If not, at least your professional relationship, you have to nurture that connection. When I met Bhavna for the first time, it could have been, hi Bhavna, we are in a panel discussion. I asked her questions, she responded, tata bye-bye, right? It could be just that. But in these years, we've nurtured that relationship. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that I call Bhavna every week and speak to her or she does that, right? It's not that. But the fact that I know what she does, and there might be certain things that might be interesting for her, the fact that she knows what I do, and there might be certain things that are interesting for me, we remember. And when such an opportunity comes, or, there is something that I feel she should be aware of, I might just, send it her way. So following up can be a simple thing as a happy birthday with someone that you met a few months ago. It could be, I'm going to another conference and I think that might be something of interest to you or value to you, passing that lead. Or it could be because when you met the person the first time, actually you are meeting the person with the intention of, how can I help? So gather that from the conversation to say, what is this person's interests, aspirations, challenges, and keep that in mind. You don't have to calendarize to say every week I call up someone, every week I send an email or anything like that. But if that first meeting that you had with the person, very genuinely you try to get to know the person, you will remember the person forever. So even after 6 months, if you found some material which you feel is going to be of use to Sylvia, I will send it across. And that's good enough. That follow-up is good enough. She will really treasure that for a lifetime. Make it a very diverse network. It is very, very important. So again, if you're saying, okay, take cues, I will now start attending conferences, meetups. But again, in my space of work, it won't help. Make it as diverse. So you will see me at tech conferences, entrepreneurship, D&I, education. In fact, I sat and attended a podcasting conference a few weeks ago. I don't do podcasts, right? I'm not into podcasts. I may not even listen to it, but this is a field which I'm seeing booming to the extent that people are wanting to place ads on podcasts, etc. So I was very curious to see what do they do and why is this industry booming? So one is for you to learn and kind of broaden your mindset, but the kinds of people that will come to that conference are going to be very different to who you have met in the past. And connecting with them and nurturing those relationships can bring kinds of opportunities that you have never imagined. So LinkedIn for sure, don't be like, okay, fine, I will only connect with people that I'm worked with, but you have to find strategies to connect with newer and strangers and make that as diverse as possible. Finally, before closing, I would say it cannot be when you are thirsty, right? You can never dig the well when you are thirsty. The water has to be always there. So start today if you have not already started, because it's not about what will I get. It is about what can you give. And I'm sure you can give plenty to a lot of people. Eventually, you can, kind of take it out from the well when you are in need, or, the well will come to you. People will come to you directly to say, hey, this is something that I think you can do. Are you interested? I call this session as, is it a luxury or an essential? Many people do ask, should actually calendarize 3 hours every month for networking, so many conferences, so many people to meet? Well, that could be a strategy, but I would like to say that make it a part of your life. So, I was going through this Excel sheet that my daughter was doing. Sneha, she's in a second year, a degree, but she also has been working with Aspire for her for the last 2 years. And, this year she's on this big project with me and she's drawing some salary. So this one Excel sheet she drew, right? Monthly expenses, salary is coming in. So now she wants to manage her own expenses. What are the essentials and what is the luxury that she's going to spend on every month, and then what she's going to save? Don't make it that. I mean, of course, when it is money, you may have to. Networking is not about that. I think it has to become a way of life and a part of life, because it is about how can I touch an individual's life? Can I? And I'm sure each of us can in many, many ways. You will definitely be able to, build those relationships within the organizations. Outside of the organization is also so very important. Eventually, you are giving and you will also be, given. People will be, giving back to you. So that's all that I have to say about my story and my tips on networking. And thank you. Love to remain connected with you. So one of the things that I did was I sent LinkedIn requests to all of you the minute I got to know you are going to be the participant. So that's also one thing. When you go